This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren, Medical Gear Outfitters, and Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 354, Trail Breakdowns.
Tonight, Aaron takes a number, Jeremy does nothing, and Ben does some MacGyvering.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are A.A. Ron, J.J. Jeremy, and my name is Bubba Ben, and welcome to the show. Wow, that was really terrible.
Ever feel like the intro music just slaps you in the face? That's what I felt like.
Yeah. I forgot to turn it down beforehand.
I noticed. I think everybody noticed.
Well, sucks to be you.
The Weekend Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And while you're there, make sure you use Off-Road Podcast for 10% off.
Well, Tim's already in the comments. He says, Jeremy, 2 weeks in a row. Is it Christmas? Because it seems too good to be true. So apparently Tim must not have got Christmas as a child because
I guess
Christmas
not.
is too good to be true.
Yeah.
That's a punishment right there for us.
Yeah. No, I'm back. I mean, I'm here for I think most weeks now. Thankfully, Olivia's mostly through her stuff. But speaking of medical,
It's my turn next. I'm gonna take a hiatus. It's my turn.
Break? You guys get breaks?
Speaking of medical stuff, I got a crap ton of Silvadine now.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good burn stuff.
Yeah, I got some of that when I burned my finger really bad.
Aw. Why's Tim saying bye?
Oh, because I said I'm the next one leaving. Although it looks like he's handing a wad of cash with that emojicon, not like two hands clapping together. So I'm not sure. Oh no, that's a waving hand. Never mind, not a wad of cash. That's
A lot of cash.
Yeah. Here's some
know.
money,
He's paying.
please.
You're really
Pay
paying what
to
you want to see.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start. I did nothing. I drove a golf cart, but it was cart path only when I went golfing. So
You didn't.
off road in a
Oh
golf.
man,
I
did
know.
you get it on two wheels at least?
No, but I did slide it down a hill really bad.
On a cart path?
Yeah, so I mean it was pretty wet. And there's a really steep hill, and at the top of the hill they said slow. And so I was going slow. I was probably going like 2 miles an hour, and I probably slid like 20 feet when I was trying to stop.
Nice.
How about you, Aaron? What have you been up to?
I haven't really done much at all. I still haven't looked into my truck to see why my winch isn't working. It's just kind of on the back burner. I'm not taking it wheeling anywhere anyways until I get new tires. And I'm still waiting on the wheels to show up. So I've heard that they've landed and maybe made it to Warren, but they have not shipped out of Warren, at least not to me yet. So fingers crossed that they'll be here soon. Then I can order tires once I confirm that the wheels fit.
Don't you live like 20, 30 minutes from Warren?
Well, like an hour, but I don't know if it's okay for me to just drive over there and demand my wheels.
Where's my wheels?
Yeah. Shout out to Leighton. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Leighton.
Leighton. He's from Massachusetts, so maybe you have to say it with a drawl.
Well, with a southern drawl, Massachusetts.
Well,
or
yeah, maybe not a drawl, an accent. Maybe that's what I'm looking for is accent. Yeah. He said close. So yeah, what I did nothing on my truck, but I did go camping. We spent 3 days at a numbered campsite. So that's, I took a number at a numbered campsite. And it was everything you can imagine a campground is that has numbers. So pretty boring. It was pretty boring. Not much nature happening, although there was some very friendly deer. And here's a picture of me hand feeding a doe at the campsite across from me. So I don't know if that's okay. I don't know if that's okay or not. If you can just feed wildlife, if they care. I didn't see a sign in the immediate vicinity, so I just kind of went ahead and did it.
I don't think you are, but just elaborate for the listeners. What are you feeding that deer?
Jelly beans, actually. Yeah, jelly beans. I bought some jelly beans for my wife. They were Dunkin' Donuts brand Jelly Bellies that were supposed to be iced coffee flavor, and she thought they were disgusting, and everybody else I've given them to thought they were disgusting, and so I decided to feed them to the deer. But what was really funny was halfway through the deer eating this handful of jelly beans, it turned its head to look at something, and this big like drool slobber came off of its chin and went all the way to the ground. So it was like this big 2-foot long slobber drool coming off of it, and then it just went back to eating out of my hand. It was kind of funny. So the deer enjoyed the jelly beans.
Aaron, you need one of these.
I don't know what that is.
So that's a wheel offset measuring tool. So you set the size of your wheel, and then you can check on whether or not the offset will work with your wheel. Then
that's pretty nifty.
Yeah, I just someone shared it in one of the 3D printing groups today.
How does that though take into account? Like, I know it's got offset, but every wheel is probably different on the inside of it, like the barrel of the wheel, where it might be thicker or more tapered or less tapered.
That should give you a minimum clearances, I believe, is how that tool's designed.
Well, Aaron knows his minimum clearance is the wheels that he bought, but
a 17-inch but these are a zero offset versus what were I think the factory Toyota ones are a 30. So it'll be like, okay, will they work or not?
Yeah.
If I can get the STL, I'll see if I can.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, once the wheels show up, they'll either fit or they won't. And I'm not going to buy tires until I know that they fit. So that's kind of the thing. So Leighton says that he's leaving for a 300-day Jeep trip. That's pretty awesome. You'll have to let us know where you're going. And then Brent says that he had a remote camping schedule that I could have gone on. So this actually, the purpose of this camp trip was to get my family out in our camp trailer that we bought. And I saw that a friend had bought a camp trailer, so I invited him to come, and then he invited some more people who had camp trailers. Everyone was Overland Bound members in this group, and so kind of funny.
So do you guys want to hear my favorite numbered campground experience?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were camping in the Olympics, and there was these two families that were near us, and they both had kids around the same age, probably like 8. One of the families had like an 8-year-old son, and the other family had like, maybe they were like 10 and 8. So the son was probably 10, and the other family had 2 girls, like 10 and 8. And one of the girls is trying to get her sister. The younger girl is trying to get her older sister to kiss the boy, and they're leaning in, and the younger sister is going da 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 da, and then the 10-year-old girl just gives the boy a double titty twister and runs away.
What? Wow.
Yeah, that was the last time I stayed at a number campsite, I think, other than our Christmas trip. But I mean, we were kind of up there. So
when that happened with me, I actually got to kiss the girl, but I guess I don't know. I was in first grade, not like an adult, and she was also in first grade.
But she gave you a titty twister and then kissed you?
Oh, no, just the kissing part, no titty twisters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying after the titty twister, you got to kiss the girl.
as your prize. No, just a kissing. Let's see. So Ben, do you need jelly beans over the weekend, or what have you been doing?
So we bought another minivan. We did not sell my 4Runner.
How many do you have? How many do you have? Wait a minute. You said you bought.
We're back to 3 cars again. The wife was like, "Oh, we need that third. We need a vehicle to fit their kids and their friends." And so
No, you don't. It's the perfect reason not to drive the friends around.
right?
she flip flops on what she wants all the time. That's why she's gone through like 11 cars since we've been married. And I've gone through 3.
Okay, roof rack. Strap them to
Wow.
the roof. You're done.
Yeah, I know. So but it had some problems, so I fixed all the problems. Like a radio needed replaced. And then there's a sensor for the seats, the rear seats, they're electric, and I fixed it with a rubber band. And then the Camry got its battery warranted. And they didn't do a 0-point calibration on it. So I pulled out the paper clips and did that myself in the driveway. You missed that?
So you did end up having to have your battery replaced again in the Camry?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I did mention that they came out. So they came out, and then they're like, unplug it, and then it wouldn't even start. So they came out, they replaced it again, and like one of the connections was loose, but they just replaced the whole new battery. And then but the ABS light was on again. And so I called my Toyota tech buddy up, and I was like, "Hey, do you have the G-scan tool so you can do this sensor?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just like a 0-point calibration. It's plugs 4 and 12, I think it is, just like the 4Runners for 0-point calibration. Very similar way to do it." Sat in the driveway, plugged in my paper clip, and tapped it 8 times, and boom, it was good to go.
Weird.
I feel like the least you could do is actually use a wire.
A paper clip's easier.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's 2 paper clips cut into the shape of an L, and you put in the ends, and then they're like this, and then you tap it together.
Yeah, but
And then the last time it holds together.
I don't know. I still
And
feel like
And then you give your car a double titty twister.
Titty twister it up. Yep. Outside of that, so we I worked on so you remember the battery box I built? I've decided that I needed to upgrade it. I got tired of switching the batteries back and forth because I had another set of batteries. So I wired up 2 more batteries, and the box is too small. So I added a battery monitor, and I upgraded to an MPPT Victron solar charge controller, and added some more plugs. So on the very left, I got my Anderson plugs for my power in. I've got 3 12-volt plugs on the side. The big one's the battery monitor, and then there's a USB USB standard plug and a USB-C plug as well. So I've got all the power.
But on the inside, you showed a picture they weren't connected.
No, I just haven't finished wiring it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I haven't finished wiring it. I've still got some more work. I wanted to kind of get down where everything was going to be.
You just connect 12 volts to the back of 12 volts to the back of those, and it'll change it to like the 5 volts or whatever it is for
it's got like the little
transformer
in it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Neat.
Yeah.
So just here's the baseline. So the next time we go snow camping and you try to run your heater on high, are you going to kill everything in like 3 hours again?
No, it would kill it in 6 hours, but
because he doubled it.
Because I doubled it, but I'm not gonna run my heater on high this time. So
he learned his lesson.
Maybe, probably not. Probably do it just for shits and giggles, and oops, it's dead. But
you're freezing.
I will actually have my cable to charge the battery off my car if I need to. So I've got options that I'll probably not use.
We'll see.
Other than that, I drove across the state, went to Spokane. My wife's uncle got married. So we went to a wedding and hung out with some family. They were actually the podcast got brought up, and the video of me going out on the scooter with you, Jeremy. Apparently, my wife shows that video to everybody.
Kick.
So it's quite popular to show coworkers and family. It got showed 3 times at the wedding. So
She's like, "Hey, everybody,
this
look
is
at
how
my husband. He is so dumb."
Yep.
The next trip we do, we should make Ben take the scooter, and he cannot ride with anybody else.
Not
No support vehicles then, huh?
No, we'll be there. We'll just be laughing, and we'll carry some tools and whatever parts you bring.
Yeah.
Actually, you could do it kind of like Top Gear, where Top Gear has that whatever vehicle that you have to drive.
Vehicle breaks down.
Can't
You have to ride the scooter.
Yeah.
I have to drive a Jeep if it breaks down.
No, you have to drive the scooter if it breaks down.
Yeah. Yikes.
I like
Scooter
it.
on the back of the Forerunner.
I like.
Forerunner breaks down, you have to drive the scooter.
Yes.
The scooter's been sitting in the backyard doing absolutely nothing, so maybe I should get it fixed.
Hey, Aaron. What can we sabotage on his vehicle so that way he has
To make him unplug his transmission sensor.
Oh yeah, perfect. I like it.
Such great friends.
Only
Well, at
that.
least we didn't break anything.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get to because you don't have any skid plates.
Yeah.
Even actually, that topic got brought up. I was talking to Pete.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be working on those in the next month or so, maybe.
Good.
Maybe
Good,
is
good.
the word there.
It's
With all the work you put
together
in
is
on his, with all the work you put on his Tundra, I could think
Yeah.
he's ready to weld them up for you.
Oh no, it's just been a matter of getting together has been our problem, and
Yeah.
for more than an hour, unless we're camping. So
Bring
Well,
the welder camping.
there we go.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month. So Patriot Patch. This month's patch, we mentioned it last week, is a Memorial Day patch. It's not popping up for me. Is it popping up for you guys? There we go.
Yeah, it's up on the screen.
Maybe my internet is so slow it's not popping up. It's there now though. But yeah, we got a Memorial Day patch. Never forget the price of freedom. So and I was corrected in the comments last week. I mentioned that this was maybe an M1 Garand. I didn't know for sure, but it's a Springfield 1903.
Nice.
Which you'd think I would know because I have one, but mine is in a Sportster stock, not in a military stock. So
Orderized.
Sporterized stock. Yeah, not a Sportster. Sporterized. And mine definitely does not have a scope on it. Mine's got itsy bitsy peep sights. And it kicks like a mule.
I was just picturing the Itsy Bitsy Spider song, but the Itsy Bitsy Peep site.
Yeah. Speaking of patches though, I know we mentioned it a while back, but we're working on a patch. Anybody want to talk about how about we talk about one of the two patches?
Should we talk about the cool one or the other cool one? Aaron's hiding. So I guess we're gonna the patch we're gonna talk about is gonna be we're coming out with the Lumen Locker patch. So we're gonna do a patch shaped like a rocker switch that says Lumen Lockers. So, yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that. It was a fun idea, and now we're gonna make it into a concept or into reality from a sticker to a patch.
From a concept to a reality.
Yeah.
And I guess we have to thank our resident non-locker, Ben.
Yeah, I love the Lumen Lockers, right?
Yeah, more lights than lockers.
Yeah, I turned the what here actually. I think I can find it here if I move quickly. There we go.
I'm back, Tim. My dog was barking.
Oh,
Had to go
that's
beat the dog.
terrible with all of our faces on there.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah, you really shouldn't have done that with a clear background. It should have been a
well,
Yeah, that's okay.
it's designed for a sticker, so
yeah.
yeah, the Lumen Lockers will be a real thing soon enough.
Yeah, we'll get us some Lumen Lockers.
Oh, Tim's always good for some good comments there.
Yep.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
So, did you guys hear about the guy in the F-150, a Raptor?
The Raptor? Which guy with a Raptor?
Well, he goes by the name Chaz, and he's actually let's watch the video first. All right, so for those of you who are not watching it but listening, it's an F-150, hits a jump pretty nicely, but he comes out and hits the ground, landing on all four wheels at the same time. He flat as a pancake, and he hit that. He bottomed out. Apparently, he was aimed for 60 miles per hour, but may have gone beyond that. He wasn't looking at the speedometer. This jump was nice and smooth, but with how he landed, he broke one of it. I think it was his T14 vertebrae. They repaired it with 2 rods and 6 screws. The truck is fine, but he isn't.
I'm shocked that he broke his back with that impact.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, I'll stop.
you can stop there. It does not look that bad to break.
It
somebody's
doesn't.
And
It doesn't.
I feel like if it was bad enough to break somebody's back, like the airbag should have deployed. There should have been some damage to the vehicle. Like,
So
I think he's got something going on where he has really bad bones.
yeah, the
He
Raptor
hasn't been drinking
has,
his milk.
14 inches of travel, and that wasn't enough to help him. There's actually another video that he had shared that was before where he wasn't going as fast and he landed nice and smoothly. But yeah, the interesting thing is he wasn't the only off-roader that landed in the hospital with a back injury that weekend. Apparently, another driver hit the same jump at about the same speed with an identical truck and was hospitalized with this
Oh,
a fractured spine as well.
My goodness.
Yeah. So not only does the Raptor break one man's back, but it broke 2.
Seems like a fatal flaw.
Yeah.
I mean, if the vehicle could drive away completely unharmed, like what the heck? How is that?
I think what it is it was all of it coming down at once. So all that momentum.
Was this the AARP
Off-road club.
But-
So Tim says maybe he compressed his spine, and we should probably trust Tim's opinion because I think he's a nurse. I don't remember exactly what Tim does, but I think he's a nurse at a hospital. like where he changes people's bedding and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
Maybe someone should get him some like progressive bump stops or something for Christmas.
I'm wondering if that would have helped with that. So even some like Timbrins, if that would have helped just slow it down a little bit more. But yeah, two guys. Ouch.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can move on. The Jeep Magneto 2.0.
Yes. Did you guys see pictures of that?
Yeah, but you should share them.
Oh yeah.
So the new Magneto 2.0, it's got 625 horsepower, 825 foot-pounds of torque.
It's a stick shift.
Yeah, it is a stick shift.
Look at that.
Wait, how is that a stick shift with an electric motor? Now
It's got a 6-speed manual transmission sourced from a Charger with a Hellcat. They
Got it.
dropped
It's just like replacing the engine with the electric motor,
yeah.
Correct.
which is the best way to do it because then you save all the Jeep stuff.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were
Save
saying
all the aftermarket Jeep support.
yeah, they were saying that the clutch only really works to move the shift knob between gears. Doesn't really serve a purpose since you can realistically start off in any gear off the line.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you still needed to move in between gears.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that the 6-speed was from a Hellcat.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's gonna need that beef right there because that's a lot of torque going to that transmission. And they changed the first gear. They dropped it from a 513 to a 336 to kind of give it a granny gear.
Huh.
Isn't that that's
Yeah,
the
that's
way
the
they would
opposite.
normally want to go.
Oh yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, maybe it
No.
has so much. Maybe it has so much low end torque that they can do that.
Yeah, it had too much low end torque. I'm sure they had to.
Yeah, it broke first gear in the first.
Well, I mean, it was probably as soon as you started to let the clutch out, it probably just jerked you backwards.
Yeah. It's got a rock track transfer case to give optimal torque to all four wheels. Dana axles, front and rear, along with some massive King coilovers.
I hope that those are Dana 60s, because that much torque is just going to destroy.
I would hope that it would get some Dana 60s,
or probably even I would probably even go a 60-80 if I'm honest with that much torque.
Yeah. That's a whole lot of torque. It's not just the horsepower. There's a whole lot of torque.
Right.
And if you notice from this picture, it's a 2-wheel drive. It's got a wheelbase that's 12 inches longer than the standard 2-door.
Hang on a second. You just said it's 2-wheel drive, but it's got the front diff.
I'm sorry, two-door.
Okay, can I pause you right there for a second? Full width bumper on the front? Come on.
Well, it came out of Jeep, didn't it? So they probably have to do that.
But come on.
Yeah, it's probably a factory thing.
Yeah.
There better be some cut lines on that where you can trim the bumper and it actually looks decent.
Well, you could probably just unbolt it.
Unbolt the wings off of it.
Oh, yeah,
Your box right there.
I do like that 7-dash grill light between the two headlights. That'll probably be a new Jeep fad.
You know what? I like that too. Because it's not like an over the top light bar, but
yeah.
I
doubt they do anything. They're probably just marker lights.
Yeah. It does look kind of cool though.
And I like those wheels too. I like how the spokes are way out and the hub is inset. I think that's kind of nifty. It's different.
Yep, those are some Falcon Wild Peaks MTs on there.
Yeah,
nice tires. It's on 40 inches of tires.
What does the hood scoop do?
It's probably to help cool the batteries.
Cold air intake.
Well, so it's got 4 different cells to spread out the battery cells to spread out the weight from the batteries, because it's got that 70 kilowatt hour battery pack. And they mentioned that 2 of the cells were under the hood, so it might be to help cool those cells. There's probably a radiator blowing some coolant around those batteries to help keep them cool.
So I know you mentioned that the clutch only works to shift between gears, but I feel like with that much amount of torque and instant torque, you'd probably burn through clutches.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, they were saying that most likely, so the Magneto is on track to actually go into production.
The what?
Magneto.
I heard Magneto.
I said Magneto. But they were saying that it's on track to go into production as an actual production vehicle. Hence why they had a 2.0 this year. With the success, they're saying the success of the 4xe, that they want to do a full electric version.
Okay.
So, but they said most likely it'll end up with a 2-speed automatic transmission.
Am I missing something? I thought the 4xe was.
It's a hybrid electric.
Oh, it's a hybrid. Okay.
4xe.
4xe.
XE.
Yeah, I know.
So the Magnetos. So the guy who wrote this article, he's done a lot of electric vehicle testing. He said that the Magnetos brake regen worked better than any of those he's tested. So I mean, that's kind of a win-win for everyone, because if you're going down a hill and you're using the engine brake, well, the regenerative braking going down a hill, that's gonna charge up your batteries while you're crawling, so you'll get it potentially a little bit better range doing that. And that does look like the Dana 60 up front.
I don't know any different.
That's the Dana axle cover. So yeah, I it looks pretty interesting. It'll be great to see them come into production if and when they do. I think the idea of having a manual would actually bring some people back to Jeep for a manual Wrangler that's electric. If they left for something else, like say they decided that they wanted a Hummer, or what's the other one?
Someone else makes an electric one.
Not an electric truck and all that. The Rivian. So like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They're like, oh, I can get a manual Jeep that's electric. I'll go for that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, pretty interesting. I really got a kick out of this article too.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, tonight our main topic is talking about trail breakdowns. So this show is dedicated to Ben, and the solution to all our answers are use Rick's AAA.
Yep, use Rick's AAA. That is the number one thing to go with. Rick's AAA, he'll get you there, home.
Yeah, he'll get you home. Call Rick, he'll get you home.
Yeah. But no, when you don't have a Rick, you need to have a solution, right?
Yeah, that's right. When you don't have a Rick, you need a solution. So these are in no particular order. This and it's a giant list of stuff we're going to go through. Some of them should go pretty quick. Other ones not. The other ones are going to be a little more complicated as we talk our way through them. So the first one's a dead battery. So and the idea behind this is you're not at home trying to fix this. You're on the trail. You're out wheeling. You're out camping. You're not in a shop where you have all your tools and everything like that. So that's kind of how we're thinking about fixing these issues. So first one's a dead battery. Who wants to take dead battery?
I'll take it because it's really easy.
All right.
Jumper box, jumper cables. Other than that, you're going to need a new battery, right?
Yeah. What if what if you're a long ways from home and your battery's like dead?
Ooh. Is there someone there to jump off of?
Yeah.
Solo. So if there's someone there to jump off of, I've seen 2 AKs used as jumper cables if you don't have the jumper cables.
Yeah, I guess maybe if you get it, maybe your charging system will keep you going. You just turn everything off, use the minimal lights, turn your radios off, your
Realistically,
Take it
your
off.
alternator could get you home,
yeah.
but you're not going to want to stop.
I guess maybe how about the flip side is what if your alternator goes out? What do you do then? So now you only have a battery.
Ooh, I've had to do this. Surprise, surprise. You drive down the road as far as you can go till you run out of power, and then you use whoever's with you. They charge up your battery with their battery, their alternator, essentially. If you're fortunate and they've got the same
So you
vehicle with the same battery size,
swap batteries. Yeah.
and swap batteries back and forth.
Yeah.
Not fun. Takes a long time.
Mhm.
And you'll probably kill the batteries.
And you'll
Unless-
probably kill the batteries.
By discharging it so much. Yeah.
Yep.
But at
All right,
least
Jeremy. Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
cheap. Probably it's cheaper to buy 2 batteries than it is to pay for a tow truck.
well, especially to an off-roading area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can get yourself out to the road, then you're kind of, that's a good time to send someone off to go buy a new battery.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you've got a common size battery, should be pretty readily available at any parts house.
I think most batteries are pretty commonly sized and pretty easy to find if you're not worried about what the battery is.
Yeah, I think if you're focused on getting home, you're not worried about what the battery is. You're
Nope.
focusing on getting home.
You'll take whichever one gets you there. So the next one here, and I realize why you guys gave this one to me, because it tends to be a Jeep problem, but steering boxes. And specifically with the Jeep, there's the sector shaft. If your steering box blows up or your sector shaft breaks, you're kind of SOL. You really need to have an extra steering box. But if you have a winch, you can very slowly use the winch to turn your vehicles or keep your wheels straight to get yourself home.
Yeah,
Did
very
Eric freeze?
careful. No, he didn't freeze. He's
Oh,
just like, how do you do
thinking.
that?
Yeah.
I'm listening intently how you're winching your steering, or do you just mean you winch yourself around a corner to just turn?
No, you can hook up your winch to one side of your like
Triggling.
specifically on the Jeep. You can hook up your winch to one side of your steering.
Okay.
And you can at least turn,
That
you
direction.
can loosen your winch or tighten your winch to kind of turn.
I see.
You're going to have to disconnect and reconnect that winch a lot to actually get where you're going, but it will get you there eventually if you don't have a steering box. And really, the best way to fix that, which Tim mentions, is to get a new steering box that's a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Or Hydro Steer or Hydro Assist.
Yeah, a sector shaft brake or sector shaft brace would help protect that sector shaft.
Yeah,
but
but you're kind of just better off going with a new steering box or
it's a band-aid on a band-aid preventative versus doing an upgrade.
Gotcha.
It's like, do you want to have a top of the line part or a bottom of the line part? The bottom tier part's gonna be. I lost where I was going with this. It's going to be better than nothing, but it's not as good as
Yeah,
going
better
with
than nothing.
the good part.
Yeah. Well, the next one is a rollover. So this isn't necessarily a breakdown, but you've rolled your rig. So you roll your rig. Once you've got it upright, do not immediately start your rig. You've probably got some oil that has now gone from your oil pan and now filled your piston cylinders? I like it, Tim. Better than nothing, like Toyota. You got some oil that has now filled your cylinders, and if you try to start it, you're going to try to compress fluid, which doesn't compress, and you're going to break your engine, which is not good. So roll your truck over, pull your spark plugs out, let it sit for a while, and then maybe it'll drain down. If it doesn't, crank it over and it'll squirt oil out all your spark plug holes and make a wonderful mess for you.
Still better than hydrolocking your engine with the oil.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Unless you really need to hydrolock that engine because you kind of want to upgrade anyways, and you're like, sorry, babe.
Good
It
time
broke.
for an swap. Swap.
Yeah,
Um,
that's something that if you've got paper towels or something, you can always shove them in the spark plug holes to kind of
Try to catch some of that. Yeah,
I feel like those are just going to come shooting out as well.
probably.
but
But
I mean,
it'll catch it from spraying some. And then so once you've done that, you put your plugs back in and check all your fluids now, because who knows where some of them might have gone. And then you can fire
sure
it up
they're there.
and see how it does.
Yeah. Well, here's the fun one: a broken drive shaft. Well, the easiest solution is pull that sucker off. It's 8 bolts generally, and you're down to 2-wheel drive if you're driving a 4-wheel drive, or no wheel drive if you if you're unfortunate enough.
Some drive shafts, though, you can't just pull it out and keep driving. Like you'll lose your transmission fluid out the back of the tail shaft.
Oh, for a 2-wheel drive?
No, for 4-wheel drive. So like my truck has a yoke. So if you pull that yoke out as part of the
Okay.
drive shaft, but the drive shaft holds the yoke in. So if you took that out, you'd lose your fluid. I don't know if you can just stuff a rag in there and hope that it catches most of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets you off the trail to
Yeah.
get towed, there's your solution.
Yeah, and you're not necessarily driving home. I mean, some vehicles you can take the drive shaft out and drive it home. Absolutely, but not all vehicles. So you got to just be careful of that.
Yeah,
Um,
but I would use this as most of these are to get you off the trail, so that then
Yes.
you can trailer home or whatever it be home, or get to a shop to repair it.
Yeah.
But that
Obviously, if you have the spare parts, any of these trail fixes just becomes a normal fix.
yeah,
That's
I
true.
mean, if you're worried about fluid pouring out the back, I mean, you could probably take a stick with a rag and jam it in there to help kind of create a seal.
Like that. You just put the
Like
stick
that.
in Yeah.
Well, you put the rag around it to kind of give it a seal.
to make it thicker. Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll fill the holes, the gap better.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so another thing, depending on how your drive shaft is broken, if it's just bent, you can beat it back. So it's not like if it's got a big tweak in it and it's hitting the underside of your vehicle, you can bend it back a little bit. And obviously you can't drive at a high speed, but you can still drive it at low speed with a bent drive shaft.
Yeah. But as you go faster and faster, that unstable can potentially break and cause more damage. So
Yes. It's going to
Do-
vibrate.
Definitely do not drive at high speeds with an unbalanced drive shaft. It will probably destroy your transfer case at the minimum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen those transfer cases where they're just split and cracked and stuff? Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
grenaded.
Not a good thing unless you want to convince the wife to buy an Atlas transfer case for your Jeep. In
There
which
you
case,
go, though. Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Send it.
Sorry, the transfer case just broke. I gotta buy a new one.
Might as well upgrade.
All right, Jeremy. I'm not sure how you would know anything about this since you drive a Jeep and you have plastic windows, but what happens if you break your window out on the trail?
Plastic windows? What are you
Aren't they
talking
plastic?
about?
Or don't you have plastic windows all the way around except for the windshield? Isn't
No,
everything plastic? Don't they roll up or something?
no, not on my Jeep. I mean, maybe if you have half doors,
A soft top.
Yeah, and a soft top. Yeah. No, but broken windows. I mean, I think kind of the best way to fix that is with some duct tape and cardboard.
Okay.
It's usually the
What if
best way.
What if it's raining and we're in the Pacific Northwest?
That's why you have enough duct tape to cover the whole cardboard.
Oh, I see. All the way up.
The cardboard just provides rigidity,
Okay.
and the duct tape provides the water sealant.
A trash bag over that cardboard would help too.
Well, I
And
mean,
use less duct tape.
if you just covered it in duct tape, then it would probably
Yeah.
be fine.
But the most important part about when you break your window on the trail, clean up the glass.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, make sure you clean up that
Yeah.
glass. Or I mean, if it's just a nice day, and depending on what window it is, just
It's true.
kind of roll
Send
with it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it's pouring down rain, then you probably want to find a way to seal that up. But
Yeah, and if it's a Jeep, it's fine getting it wet inside. It can all dry out. It leaks anyways.
not all of them leak.
Just pull the plugs in the floor, right?
Yeah.
If-
I'd rather my top leak
Have
than
those.
my transfer
Your
case,
bottom?
engine, or
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one we've got is a flat tire, and shout out to Ben for putting this one in there for us. Lots of experience, but usually Ben's flat tires are exploded tires, not a
Yeah.
nails or anything.
So if you've got like a small enough hole in your tire, you can do a simple plug.
Yeah.
You can.
heck, I've seen large gashes in sidewalls be plugged with
Yeah.
plugs. You just got to have enough of them.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying safely.
Zip
Well,
ties.
Again,
We're getting off the trail.
half of these fixes are exactly getting off the trail, getting to a place where you can get some more help.
Yeah. So obviously you can shove a ton of them in. You can even fix a sidewall, but it's not going to be safe to drive on the road. Always throwing on your spare tire if you're smart enough to have a full size spare. If you're not, then good luck.
I mean-
But I'm always an advocate of a full size spare.
Yeah.
You can only fix a tire so much, especially if it's exploded. Speaking from experience.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
what do you guys take on this? You just got a puncture. Let's just call it a puncture. You're on the trail, not on the highway. Are you gonna bust out the tire repair kit, or are you gonna take you're gonna replace it?
I mean, that's kind of a hard thing because most tire repair shops or most tire shops will not work on your tires if they see that it has one of the trail plugs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I would swap it out and fix it, and then if I were to lose another one, I'd plug it and then run that one.
Gotcha.
If the
I've
other
never heard that.
sustained enough damage.
Yeah, I would probably do the same. If you have the spare, go ahead and throw the spare on. But I mean, even with a gash, a sidewall gash, there are ways to repair that tire that's safer than just filling it with plugs. I mean, you can actually stitch a tire back together. Now
They make big vulcanized patches that you can put in from the inside of the tire as well.
yeah, but most of the time you have to stitch it together and then put the vulcanized patch on. So
Correct.
that the
Correct.
stitch provides the rigidity, and then the
Mhm.
vulcanized patch seals it up. Now,
Yeah.
does that sound like something I want to do on the trail? Absolutely not. Like that sounds terrible.
But if you've already gone through a spare tire, you might need to.
Yeah.
you might need to. Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, if you're running in a group with guys that run the same size tires as you, and like if you're running with a bunch of Jeep guys, there's enough spares there, hopefully, to go around.
That's true.
Not a lot of spares for mine though.
Nope.
Should be if they're all on 40s.
Yeah. If
Well,
they're
and
40s,
tons.
40s and tons. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and you have an 8 lug. Yeah.
It's the problem.
Otherwise you're debeating a tire and moving it over to a different wheel on the
Yeah.
trail
Yeah.
with bead
Yeah,
locks.
if they're not-
Yes.
They're not bead locks. Then good
Yeah.
luck debeating that tire enough to
High lift jack.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
Lots
lots
of-
of fun. I think
lots
I
of
would rather do a lot of other things before I had to take a tire off on the trail,
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
of a wheel.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of wheels, broken wheel is our next one up. So you've come off an obstacle, you're aired down, and you just smash that wheel hard. So either you've broken your wheel or you've dented it really good. A broken wheel would probably be like an alloy wheel. A dented wheel would be a steel wheel. So I always have run steel wheels because the internet told me that if you ever smash an alloy wheel, it breaks, but if you have a steel wheel, it just bends, and you can bend it back on the trail. So that's why I've just run steel wheels. In fact, I had alloy wheels on my truck, and I sold them to get my steel wheels. I don't know if they're any better or not. They haven't bent or broken, so I'm good. So I haven't had to beat them back, but I have heard of people using like a splitting maul or an axe to pound their steel wheel back into shape. So that's one way you could do it, but you're going to be once you get back to civilization, it's going to be unbalanced and things like that. It'd probably be best if you went on your spare, is my opinion for that.
Yeah, and if you've broken the wheel, you're on your spare because there ain't no fixing that.
Yes.
I don't.
You're
You might be
JB
able to weld
Weldon.
up. Yeah, you might be able to
Weld.
JB weld it.
If you've got all the pieces, if it shattered into pieces,
Yeah,
that would
but,
be a fun. That'd be fun.
Be a good experiment.
yeah. Can you
Tim
JB
Tim
weld it
says
back together?
Tim said he's seen a guy bend back 2 steel wheels in one trip and it worked fine. I'm super curious what steel wheels were so flimsy that he bent 2 of them, or maybe he wheels that hard. Maybe he's just a hardcore crawler. I don't know.
I mean, it could be older, like Jeep wheel, like old. What were they? The 5 spokes or whatever, D windows. So yeah,
I mean, he could have jumped his Raptor and
front.
There's a front and back wheel. They hit the same rock. Oh my goodness.
Speed,
Oh, he was going fast. Speed
Yeah.
kills.
speed kills.
Ask
Well-
Ben.
Yes, it does. That's how you jump your Forerunner.
Yeah.
The next one's my favorite one because I've been offering for years to slash my valve stem, because of a broken valve stem. We've got the easiest fix for this, and that's going to be a Colby valve.
Yeah.
That's super easy. Insert from the outside. You can tighten it down by hand, throw some air in, and you're good to go.
Now, what if you can't use Colby valves on your wheels? What would you do then?
Oh, then it's gonna be not as fun. Hopefully you've got a spare valve stem. You've got to debead that tire, throw the valve stem out, have the
Do you?
special tool. Huh?
But do you?
Oh, I guess you could throw like. What would you do? That's a good question.
They actually, I can't remember the name of this, but they actually make a tool to put in a valve stem from the outside. It's kind of like a funnel, and you basically just you grease up the valve stem really well. You shove it through the funnel, which compresses the rubber until it can fit through the valve stem hole, and then it goes all the way in. You pull the funnel out, and then you have to pull the valve stem back in to where it seats properly. But there is a way to do it.
That sounds like a lot of tools that I don't want to carry. I'd rather just go.
Yeah.
Valve.
A little tiny Colby valve. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if the Colby valves work for your wheels, but they don't work on every wheel.
Oh, are you saying like maybe the alloy metal is too thick or something like that? Or the location where it sets?
So I guess the fix for that would be by the permanent Colby valve stems instead of the rescue valve stems.
With the deep
the wing nut on some of the rescue ones is sometimes too big to fit where the valve stem is.
Gotcha.
I see.
Which is why, and you can, if you have the tire repair kit that Colby Valve comes with, it actually has the permanent valve style nut and spacer in there, as well as the rescue cap. So you just need I think it's a 10 or an 11 millimeter wrench.
Better not be 11.
It's probably
I don't know the inch.
Who carries an 11?
Well, he also said 10 or 11 inch, not.
No.
Oh, inch.
no. I said
Millimeter.
Brent, a
Oh,
socket.
I heard inch.
Yeah, I thought I heard. Yeah, I don't think I heard inch either.
Okay.
I like Tim's answer to this. I bought the permanent ones because if I have to use one, it's gonna stay there because I'm too lazy to fix it later.
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
A trail fix can be a permanent fix
I
if
did
you
find,
if you leave it long enough.
yes, that is true. Or if you fix it well enough, that's
Yeah.
Good enough.
so. I found the thing I was looking for. So, you can kind of see the funnel there.
You have
got
to
the
shove it
funnel.
all the way through that. Whoa.
Yeah. So you put this, you screw this little tool onto the valve stem, and then you shove it through the funnel, and then you pull it back out, and then you take everything away, and then it's fixed.
Sounds like a headache.
And that's 3 times the price of a Colby valve.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably rather just use a Colby valve as well, but there are ways.
There are
Other ways, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, our next one is frame damage. How do you get frame damage if you don't live in the Rust Belt?
You jump your Forerunner.
onto a
That's a good point. And you you taco your frame or something, or you're towing too much and you taco your
you
frame.
drive a Jeep with the wrong size shocks, and then your stuff's slamming, and you taco your Jeep
Slap.
or your Colorado.
Yeah, I don't have a really good suggestion on how to fix a frame damage because you're not you're not straighten that on the trail that I know of.
So, I mean, the only frame damage I think you're gonna really need to fix on the trail and can fix on the trail is if you crack your frame.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
see that absolutely. If there's a
And-
crack that you can weld up, you could put something plated over it. There's
And-
all those cool trail hacks where people use like their wrenches or something to add some structure to things.
Yes, and that's really what you got to do if you have any sort of frame damage that you got to fix before you can get off the trail. Is you definitely need to
Yeah.
weld it. There's no way around it.
Unfortunately.
So broken CV axle, I'm going to take this one also because I experienced this when I was in Colorado, wheeling hard in Colorado. I literally broke the end of the CV. I didn't snap a shaft. I didn't twist the shaft. It just broke the knuckle of the CV. And you just remove and replace is what you do. Or if you don't have one to replace, you just remove. Sometimes you can just remove. It depends on the style. Once again, just like the drive shaft, it may leak all your fluid out, so you can't always do that.
Yeah.
I've heard of people cutting or just shoving the broken part in to fill the hole because it's like a C-clip style. The one on the Nissan Titan, which is what I'm running in my Frontier, is bolted on. So if you unbolt it, you're good.
My Forerunner is a C-clip style. So when I broke it on the faithful November trip, I just left the end in and pulled the rest of the shaft out so it wasn't flopping around, causing more damage.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of rolling into the next one. For the real off-roading vehicles, we're talking about generally a broken axle shaft, not just a CV axle shaft, but again, kind of with that, I mean, obviously, if you have the replacement, that's going to be better, but or just a replacement U-joint if you just broke the U-joint. But again, you can kind of pull it out and plug the hole. Now the problem is with if you have a semi-float axle, generally speaking, you're going to break something else if you ever try to do that. So like if you do it on the front, you might run through a unit bearing pretty quick. Again, I probably wouldn't do it on the highway because the unit bearing kind of typically needs a little bit of that tension from the axle shaft to try to hold it together a little bit. But that's where it's nice to go, especially if you're replacing your axles. Definitely try to find something that's a full float where you can just pull the axle completely and then go ahead and just plug the hole, and then you can just run without it. Yeah, thanks, Tim. Case in point with the unit bearings on the TJs.
Yep. So our next one here, I've experienced this leaking radiator. Let's go some old school grandpa hacks for this one. An egg in the radiator.
Yeah.
And pepper.
And both, or are they different? You can do an egg or pepper.
I would do one or the other.
Okay,
pepper
not
for
both.
like smaller stuff.
But what if I like my eggs with pepper?
You know, depending upon what your leak problem is, you might need both, right? I've seen like pepper used for like smaller leaks, like pinhole leaks, for like longer trips, but the egg was for like your larger leaks. Still, it's only going to stop so much, and you're going to have fun cleaning that later.
Yes.
Yeah, which is why if you maybe you should try something like a steel stick.
Yeah, steel stick or
bars leak.
Yeah. So depending upon what it is, some what's it called? JB Weld.
Yeah, JB Weld would be better.
Yeah, if you're leaking in one of your radiator fins, you can try to crimp it with some needle nose pliers.
Yep.
And then maybe just JB Weld just the end of the crimp part, something like that.
Yeah. Speaking of things leaking, what would you guys do for a leaking gas tank? Say you like dropped your vehicle on a rock and put a crack in it. What would you guys do for that?
Or when you were young, you lived in Tacoma and you jumped your Cadillac and it bottomed out because there were 16 people in it and it tore a hole in the gas tank.
I'm not talking about a hole.
Hypothetical.
I'm talking like a crack.
Well, so that person used bubble gum.
Okay, bubble gum.
And as far as I understand, it lasted for quite a while.
Yeah. Depending upon the size of the hole, I mean, something like bubble gum, steel stick, JB Weld. The JB Weld stick is what I'm talking about. There's.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's some other like putty stuff like that that'll work.
You know what works really good if it's kind of a small crack leak? Is some Irish Spring soap.
Oh, I vaguely remember hearing about that. Yeah.
So whatever that soap's made of doesn't get dissolved by the gasoline, and you just rub it on the outside and it fills the hole, and it's usually enough to get you back home. Now,
I wonder if that's just a marketing play by Irish Spring.
I don't think so. I've actually seen it work
to sell soap to off-roaders.
Watch how many guys buy Irish Spring now and shove it in their tool bag.
Yeah,
a lot of people carry it for that purpose. And plus, if you want to go take a bath in the river, you got some.
It's ready to go.
Yeah.
I actually have a bar of that in my go bag.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'd probably need the Irish Spring after this next one, which would be a punctured oil pan. Very similar solution would be probably the
JB Weld.
JB Weld. We've seen it, Aaron, you and I.
The Gambler 500. Yeah.
Guy pulled his pan off and created
a hammered it back out. He hammered it back out first, like he took it off and hammered it out. Yeah.
It's still got that patch too.
Wow.
Because the brothers Hoff own that rig now. Or they did.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I would try to clean off as much oil as you can, obviously.
Yeah, you need it stick, so you got to clean it. Maybe even like have some steel wool or something to scratch at it so it will bite better.
Yep. And then You're gonna have to replace all that oil, obviously.
Yes.
No, really?
Yep. You got to put it back.
Yep.
I thought you just pulled the cover off and just sent it.
I mean, to get home maybe, and need to replace the engine.
Yeah. I don't. Have you guys seen like the videos where it's like a short video where a mechanic has to change the
Oh yeah,
oil pan plug, and they
Mhm.
put a vacuum on the oil fill, and the vacuum holds the oil from leaking out, and it's just going right at the hole, and they can take that plug out and put a new plug in.
I have seen that, but I don't think that's going to work if you remove the whole pan.
The whole pan, probably not. Yeah, you don't
I-
have enough
I-
suction.
I don't think it would work to hold the while you're driving either, because of the pressure created from the engine moving.
No.
And I don't know where you're going to get a vacuum that powerful while you're off-roading.
Well, and plus, if you're running the engine, it's going to be splashing up at the cap, and you'll just start sucking up all the oil over time.
Tim says he needs to start carrying enough oil to refill his. He's been bad about that. He usually only carries a quart. I usually just carry a 1 gallon jug instead of a quart.
I usually carry 2 quarts.
I mean, honestly, you just got to go with enough friends, because if you're just trying to get
Everybody has a
home,
quart.
you don't need the exact oil you need for your engine, just close enough.
Yeah.
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 Especially if you're in a summer trip or a winter trip and stuff's not cooling down long enough to where that viscosity matters that much, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Like you just said, summer trip or winter trip, and
Winter doesn't oil get thicker when it's cooler?
I mean,
Yeah.
it does, but when you say summer trip or winter trip, like you've gone to either extreme, and I
Yeah.
feel like now you've just said trip.
Oh, I figure a winter trip it might matter a little more if the engine's gonna cool down. The viscosity, like
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not good for your engine if like
you've got the wrong oil in there, anyways.
you're a W20 and you only have like 20 W60 or whatever, but
Yeah.
You put gear oil in it, some
Yeah,
90 weight.
I wouldn't recommend doing that, but
I heard you can thin it out with gasoline. Just put some gasoline in with your oil. I think it'll be
I
fine.
don't think you should do that either.
Yeah.
Water. If you're gonna thin it, you use water.
Then used water
The
to
views
thin
and
it.
opinions of the off-road podcast are not those
Yes, thank
which,
you.
which are,
Wait,
are
I thought-
generally good ideas for you to use.
I
Wow.
thought you guys did everything with Sprite.
Ooh, Sprite, huh?
There you go. So our next one here is brake lines, and I know a little bit about that. Just run without brakes. You can do it. Use some engine braking.
Once again, the views and opinions expressed by the podcast are usually wrong.
Yeah. So depending upon the brake line, hard brake line, you can crimp it off with some vice grips. Soft brake line, you can too, but
I feel like that's the summer and winter trip again.
I
All
mean,
brake lines you can crimp
I've
in
never
vice grips.
I've never seen the vice grips on a soft line.
I haven't either.
I have.
Well, I take it back. I have seen it in mechanics videos, but usually there's not someone stepping on the brake. They pinch it off while they change something and put it back on, and they only have to bleed a little bit. There's no one stepping on the brake pedal causing pressure on the backside of that vice grip. So I don't know how well that'll hold up on a soft line. I don't know.
It'll hold up.
With a vice grip. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, worst case scenario, the soft lines are only at your wheel areas. You go see where that hard line is just prior to that, and you can bend and crimp that. I mean, it's going to be a lot more of a pain to replace that hard line, but you
Yeah.
could crimp hard line up higher.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you can do it, you should just crimp off the soft line and leave your vice grips on the
Yeah.
soft
Yeah.
line to get you home. Because then, it's much easier to replace than trying to do get a flare tool and flare your brake line and put in new hard line.
That's not fun.
No, not at all.
Nope. Well, only if we had Andy here, because he's got this one covered. A tie rod. You can winch that sucker back in. Sometimes you might be able to straighten it out if it's tacoed. I've seen guys use pipe. In if it's like an inner outer thing, like they've cut like a high lift jack handle and slid it over, welded it together type stuff. Not fun.
So
Yep.
that's specifically a tie rod, not the ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tie
What if
rod
it broke-
end.
Yeah. What if you broke a tie rod end?
Oh, might be able to drill it and throw a nut and a bolt through it.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Is that what we lost a nut on your Jeep, Jeremy, when you were down here? Was that a tie rod?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember if it was the tie rod or the drag link. I think it was the drag link. It was the drag link.
I think it was the drag link. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what did we do there? So this is kind of close. So on that one, we ended up just, thankfully I had a reverse drag link. So instead of coming in from the bottom, it came in through the top. And so we just kind of tied a strap down to keep the drag link from popping out again. And we drove that sucker home going 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. If depending upon what it is, bend it or do something like that.
You did. To be fair, you did have a GoPro that you were able to position under your rig, and you were able to watch it live from your cell phone as you drove. So that's pretty trick.
Until I felt comfortable with just letting it go.
Yeah.
I think the GoPro died eventually, but
did you record any of that?
I don't think so. I was just because if you start recording, you can't see it.
Oh, gotcha.
It's really only to try to position the GoPro in the right spot. So, it was nice to know that it wasn't going to just fly out. But yeah.
Ooh, here's a fun one. Broken mounts. This is kind of similar to frame damage in some senses. Since it's usually off the mount. The mount is generally the frame side that I've seen. Sometimes you'll see axle side ones shear. Welding them is kind of the answer. Is the proper fix. But if it's all twisted and stuff, I've seen ratchet straps and baling wire and duct tape once used to kind of just hold stuff together. Like if it was a spring mount, I've seen what's it called? A ratchet strap held in place to hold it up so it wasn't bouncing around too much. But then they also sucked in the axle so that spring wasn't moving as much.
Yeah. Well, and if it's something like a shock mount, like just pull that shock off. Who cares?
Yeah.
You can
roll without the shock. Yes.
Right. But again, especially if you're like not a coilover, but a coil suspension, you probably want, because that shock limits your droop, so that way you don't lose your spring out of the spring bucket. You probably want to limit the travel of the axle.
Yeah.
So throw a ratchet strap over it.
Like that XJ I posted a video of in our group a couple days ago where he came up on that rock and he flexed out and all of his suspension components fell out onto the ground.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah.
So
Another thing you can do if you've broken, let's say you've got IFS up front and you've broken a suspension mount for your strut or your coilover or whatever, and you have no way to weld it on, you can shove, like if you can get a piece of wood that's the right length or whatever, you use your chainsaw, you cut a log, and now you have a solid suspension. And then you'd have to ratchet strap your suspension tight, and you will get zero up and down with that. But you could block your suspension area somehow.
Yeah,
with,
and that would
locking
be
some-
enough to kind of get you moving and off the trail. You really
you
want to
could-
lock that in place, especially if you've got a CV axle up there. You don't
Yeah.
want that wood coming in contact with that tire or with that CV axle.
Nope.
Lots of ratchet straps for that one. Manual hubs, Jeremy. That's one you should know a little about.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a spare again would be the best, but most manual hubs are going to break in the open position. So worst case scenario, you're running without a hub, or without full 4-wheel drive. Some hubs you can buy. I can't remember the exact brand, but I know there's at least one that when it breaks in the closed position, which is kind of neat. So just something to think about. Generally, you're just going to want to replace it though as quickly as you can.
Yep.
Oh, Eric's finally in the comments. I
Yeah.
missed you earlier. Eric, I told a story about a Cadillac and a leaking gas tank and bubble gum. So you'll have to go back and listen to the podcast later on. You'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Plus, I love
So
the
then-
Toyota 8.
Yes. Broken leaf pack. So I have to raise my hand on this one because this happened to my camp trailer. Not my big camp trailer, but my overland one that I built. So yeah, broken leaf pack. I have seen people when they break their leaf pack and it goes all the way through. Sometimes it's just a broken leaf, and you can just put some clamps around it and just kind of limp it and go ginger. But if you break all the way through your leaf pack, I have seen people weld some stuff in there and also block the suspension, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, so that you aren't cycling those leaves up and down, and you can limp it back that way. Or if you have broken your leaf pack and you don't have a way, you could Tim says maybe if I didn't flip my trailer it wouldn't have broken. This was actually different, same trailer but different leaves, because I had actually changed my axle out and got some different leaves. But yeah, I gotta say that was the only part on my trailer that I didn't like custom fab myself, and it was the part that broke was my leaf springs. But maybe it's because I overloaded it too, who knows. Yeah, so you can eliminate the suspension completely if you block a piece of wood and ratchet strap it tight as well. So that's another way you can deal with a broken leaf pack.
I feel we missed something with like a broken wheel and a leaf pack. This kind of falls into it. You could do the whole log drag thing, replacing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You can do the log drag.
Yeah.
And that's where like you would use a bunch of ratchet straps, rope or whatever, and tie it to the axle. And I feel for like a broken leaf pack, you would actually put that between the frame and the axle to prevent, like you said, blocking it from cycling.
Yeah. I'm not I like the idea behind that, but I am a little concerned about damaging trails and stuff by how heavy your vehicle is and is dragging a gouge into the trail. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a wimp about treading lightly or something, but I don't know.
I mean, if it's getting you off the trail so that your rig doesn't get braided and burned by the people that like to do that.
Yeah, if I definitely wouldn't have a problem. It was like a Forest Service road. You're dragging it down a Forest Service road. They're going to grade those and whatever else. But if it's just like out in the nature trail or something, you're cutting a big groove in the ground with your log. I don't know.
Go back and fix it later.
Maybe you have a snowboard with you also, and you can put your snowboard underneath it, and it'd act like a ski.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. Oh yeah, broken seat axles.
Yeah, Tim mentions a broken C-clip axle. You can use a log to keep that tire on. I saw that in a TV show a long time ago where they broke a C-clip and they like strapped something to the outside of their Jeep so that the tire couldn't walk out farther. They strapped like a log to the outside of the Jeep.
One car
So
too
the
far.
tire, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
That's
So
what
the
it was.
yeah. So the tire would like float in and out, but couldn't go beyond that log that was strapped to the outside.
Yeah. They actually make a recovery tool for that where it's like a pipe with bearings so on each side of it so you don't wreck your tire with that. It straps to the frame and then there's like bearings on a pipe that allow it to spin opposite directions.
Interesting.
But seriously, if you're hardcore wheeling something with C clips, like think about just replacing that.
Replacing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the obvious thing is to replace and upgrade, but I mean, sometimes that's not a feasible option.
No, I get it, but just like don't wheel a hardcore wheel a C clip axle. Like if you're
Don't wheel it as hard.
sure, but I wouldn't throw 35s on a C clip and go and
yeah.
rock and roll. You're just asking for it at that point.
Yeah. Well, and this last one, it's one I'm all way too familiar with. Is loose bolts falling out. Actually, if Coy was here, I'd poke fun at him and say he's used to it too, because Coy lost a trailing arm bolt, and we spent what did we spend, Aaron? About an hour looking for it.
Probably an hour looking for it. Yeah.
We walked back and looked around because he knew the moment he felt it go. First step would be look for that bolt and hope you find it. And see if you've got a spare bolt. And that was a problem both Coy and I had. There was no spare bolt that fit. So have your tools along with you. That's when we pull out the drill. And depending upon what happens, for me, it was the spindle. We drilled through the spindle and hammered an extension through. The plan was to put a hole in that extension and put a cotter pin in, so like a trailer pin, hitch pin, to help hold that cotter pin in, or but we actually ended up welding a socket to it, which is, you don't always have a welder. Fortunately for me, there was a guy that happened to be rolling by with a welder and was like, "Hey, you need anything welded?" So
Eric says step 2, fly a kite. And I think that we did that while we were waiting for the trail fix.
yes, I did.
I think
I did fly a kite.
Yeah, Ben broke his kite out and started flying a kite while we were waiting.
I mean,
forgot all about that.
I did go look. I looked for a while.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm done looking. I'm flying a kite now. I had my pocket kite in my door. So I was like, oh, I might as well use it. I paid for it, right?
Yeah.
What if Ben actually found it and he just wanted to watch Coy freak out, and so he just held on to it and he's like, I'm just gonna go fly this kite and see what Coy does.
Yeah. So
No.
actually when I was snow wheeling a year ago with some buddies, he lost a bolt out of a suspension part also. I think it was actually a steering part. Yeah, it was a steering part because his tires just towed in really bad. Or one side towed in really bad. And we never found the bolt, and obviously it's in the snow. It's hard to find it in snow. And we used a trailer hitch pin itself. We had a hitch pin that was long enough to work for that part. So kind of nifty.
Yeah, it's always nice to have nifty parts like that, right?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't take much weight, then you might be able to pound a stick through.
Yeah.
But I would use that sparingly, only if it doesn't have much weight.
Yeah, I'm not sure what all you could use a stick that wasn't critical. How many components could a stick hold?
Yeah, now I want to do some testing.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, maybe we need to do an episode on what spare parts you should keep in your rig, since we've covered spare tools and now the types of brakes. Maybe we need to do a what kind of spare parts you should keep and how big of a trailer you'll need to pull behind you to hold all those spare parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody who's stuck out for this super exciting episode where we outed ourselves for all the things that we've broken on our rigs. And we also liked hearing what you guys had in the comments too, for what you've done to fix things or what you've seen broken as well. And Tim, big shout out to you for reminding me of One Car Too Far TV show. I got to look that up, and I think I'm going to rewatch that one, check it back out. So see where now that I'm off-roaded since I've watched that show, because I don't think I was into off-roading back then. It's an old show.
Yeah, it was. I remember watching it when it was on TV, and all the stuff that we made fun of, because it was like, why didn't they just call it a Jeep? But they wouldn't call it a Jeep.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it so I can make fun of it, because I'm sure that it's made for television entertainment kind of a thing. So I'll check it out. So anyways, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on. Make sure you're sharing us with a friend. Make sure you're going to our YouTube page and subscribing there. And if you haven't, go check out our Facebook group, Off-Road Podcast Fans. If you're not a fan of us, let us know what we should really name the page, because that is still just a name placeholder until someone comes up with something good. Maybe we'll send you one of our new Lumen Locker patches if we get a good one. Good idea. So thanks for helping us grow. God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren, Medical Gear Outfitters, and Colby Valve to see all their great gear. We're a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a comment or question? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.net or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe, and courteous. Thanks for listening.
Tim suggested Off-Road Podcasts Anonymous.
What's the trail fix for falling in a ditch?